Hi everyone, this is Louisa, the Eat Right Chef. Today I'm going to talk about the challenges that I faced when I first started with the blood type diet. So in the beginning, I realized that in order to eat right for my blood type, which is O, I had to give up all processed food. So what's wrong with processed food? Well, many of you are already familiar, but there is one ingredient that is very rampant in processed food, which is corn and corn derived products. Corn is very sneaky in its appearance because you don't see the word corn. You will see names such as MSG, citric acid, and high fructose corn syrup, and natural flavorings. So those preservatives and flavorings are all made from corn, and they do a lot of harm to our bodies, especially the blood types that should not be having corn. And another problem is that corn, most of the corn in the world today is GMO, so I really wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Another challenge that I had was actually I had to find replacement for wheat, which is an avoid for me. So I looked for gluten-free products. But it turns out that many of the ingredients in gluten-free products are actually avoids for me as well, and they're not friendly to my system. Some of them are, for example, tapioca starch, potato starch, corn starch, and xanthan gum. So yeah, I just realized that, as healthy as it sounds, gluten-free products are not for everyone and definitely not for me. Now, as for restaurants, I realized that most dishes contain an avoid here and avoid there. Just most of them are not good for me either. And another big problem with restaurant food is that most restaurants choose the cheapest type of oil to cook their dishes with, and the cheapest type is soy oil. So soy oil is, besides the fact that it contains an avoid for me, most of the soy in the world is also GMO. So it's, unless you know what kind of oil the restaurant uses and that you can make sure that it's an okay oil for your blood type, yeah, there is a big problem with restaurant food. So what does that mean? Well, not being able to eat processed food, junk food, and restaurant food, it presented a big challenge for me. And the challenge was that I needed to prepare and cook all of my food at home, and even bring food from home whenever I go out, so I can avoid eating the non-compliant and junk food out there. Well, the idea of having to cook everything from scratch, for me and for most people, can be quite daunting. But over time, I've developed a system to do grocery shopping and to do meal preps that is very efficient, so that eating right for my health doesn't have to be such a drag. And I'll be sharing more tips on these with you in the future. Besides doing the meal prep, there's one challenge that used to bother me in the beginning, but not so much anymore. It was that, sometimes my friends would consider me antisocial because I prefer not to go to the restaurant. But I found a way to work around that, and I'll be sharing that with you in the future as well. One more thing, when I first started with the blood type diet, I realized that I had to give up some foods that I used to eat when I grew up. And one of those foods was soil. As you can imagine, in a Chinese household where I grew up, we ate, soy products almost every day. Tofu and soybeans and, soy sauce. They were in almost every dish, especially soy sauce. But once I've given it up, I realized that the problems I used to have around mucus and phlegm and itchy throat, they just went away. So it became quite an easy choice. I just didn't miss it afterwards because I feel so much better. Another food that I gave up was pork. I used to eat pork almost every meal or every other meal growing up, but I realized that pork actually has the highest viral load among all meats, and it also has the effect of clumping up our red blood cells, and that happens in all blood types, so it's not recommended for anybody actually. And once I've stopped eating pork, I've noticed that my immune system has become much stronger. And one thing that made it easier for the transition was that I started eating more grass-fed beef, and I replaced pork with that. And I really started to appreciate the health benefits of grass-fed beef. It not only healed my stomach from acid reflux, it also gives me steady energy, it builds lean muscles, and it also balances my blood sugar level. So as you can see, when you replace and avoid food with beneficial food, it becomes easier because you will see the benefits over time, and the nice feeling of having a level of health that you have never experienced before will kind of override your craving for the food that you grew up with. And that's what happened to me. Of course, there are individual differences, as food, it has different effects on individuals, and this is what the blood type diet is about. And it's not only a diet, it's a whole lifestyle. And if you want to learn more about how you can implement this lifestyle in order to optimize your health, please subscribe to my newsletter at eatrightwithlouisa.com. And if you have any questions at all, please leave a message in the comment section and I'll get back to you with a future video. I'll see you next time. Bye.